Tournament time, it's here. NBA season is booming. Life is good. I mean, there's nothing like basketball in March, right? Tons of tournament games with high stakes and high drama, all competing to cut down the nets as national champs. And thanks to our partners at DraftKings, it's about to get even better. Right now, all new customers who bet $5 will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Want to know what you can do with that $150 in bonus bets? Well, stay in the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. So fill out your brackets, place your bets on who you think will rise to the top with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using my code BULLYBALL, and bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly with the promo code BULLYBALL. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Let the March Madness begin. The NCAA tournament officially underway, and the games are being played all around the country. So the best way to track the schedule and tickets is with GameTime. I just pull up the app, and then I can see the games that are being played here in Los Angeles at the end of the month. And that's what's great about the GameTime app. I can see the whole college basketball tournament schedule. All of it. Or I can just look when the tournament is coming near my location. GameTime has the best layout, hands down. I'm always checking the GameTime app for upcoming events. It's nice to have this app that's 100% reliable with a money back guarantee. So I know I'm getting the best deal on tickets. And GameTime always comes through with the last minute deals. I love that the prices are all in up front. So you know what the price really is before you get to checkout. And I'm going to more concerts this year, all because of GameTime. I just picked the section. I can see the view from the seats. It's incredible. GameTime picks the seats for the best price. It takes the frustration and the guesswork of buying tickets because you can use GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use my code BULLYBALL for $20 off your first purchase. That's code BULLYBALL, $20 off your first purchase. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Welcome to Bully Ball, presented by DraftKings. I am Rachel Nichols, as always. DeMarcus Cousins across the way from me there. And before we get to our other guest today, Amin Elhassan, we got to discuss, Boogie. The plant is back! I'm so happy!
Hey, what's happening?
And it's grown.
Yeah, it's been getting a lot of light and water. It is plastic, but, I've been taking care of it.
I mean, this plant is my favorite thing to see every Monday morning. And I don't know, does it have a name, Boogie? Have we named the plant at this point?
I'm still figuring it out. I'm still filling the plant out. It's got a big energy to it, though, so I'm going to make sure it's flashy, So maybe by next week.
I don't know. We also got to hit the fact that the Taiwan beer leopards announced that you're going back for another stint with them. And really, I know that everybody in that country is excited to see you back. I'm excited to know whether you take the plant with you on the plane. So when we podcast from there, you have a plant. Will it be a different plant? Will it be a Taiwanese plant? Yeah,
I think I'm going to try to get something from over there. I don't want to put, too much stress on this plant. I want it to be at its best. The pressures of the plane and the long travel could, do bad effects on us.
It's true. I love what a caretaker you are, Boog. It's really, I try. Very impressive. All right, Amin, you do not have a plant. I'm a little disappointed in you, but it is good to see you because you may be the most famous man on the internet this morning. Please explain what happened. I don't even know. Do I need to tell the audience? I'm sure you've all seen it. There was a viral video of Amin warming up at, I believe it was an Athletes Unlimited event, right? Yes. And apparently you did not get warm, Amin, ever, because the shot was not even, can we call it a shot? I don't know, Boog, can we even say it's a shot, or is that an affront to basketball?
Man, he got some explaining to do. From this day forward, after we cover this topic, man, you better have only nice things to say about any athlete. We've seen you try to be an athlete.
Here's the best
part. You failed miserably.
Boogie, here's the best part.
You know I got nothing but love for you, but how dare you?
Hey, man.
How dare you?
Hey, man.
How dare you? How dare you, sir? How dare you?
This is what I've been telling everybody. Not only am I going to keep going in, I'm going in harder. I'm doubling down. Because this is my whole thing. Most of the time, athletes complain about like being in a fishbowl and everybody, and you go on the internet and everyone's negative and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, that shit ain't that hard. And here I am. I'm messed up. I'm getting roasted. I'm still here. I'm still talking. The world hasn't ended. My house hasn't collapsed. Quite the opposite. This is becoming one of the more lucrative things to happen to me in the last couple of years. So you know what? Keep sharing that video. Keep doing everything. Because at the end of the day, this is the truth. And the truth is, I know that's not how I shoot. I don't need to...
Man.
Quote, unquote,
evidence would suggest the contrary. Also, how are you making money off of this? I'm sorry.
No. That's not gonna cut it, brother. That's not gonna cut it. And it's
you can't compare yourself to an athlete living in a fishbowl because one, an athlete living in a fishbowl, when he makes a mistake, that's when it affects us because we know it was a mistake or that's not really ourselves.
I made a mistake. That's not really myself.
No. It's easier to accept negative criticism when you know you suck.
Nah. See, here's the thing.
Exactly
it's a different scenario, brother. So
I'm gonna be perfectly honest, and this is why I've been like accepting the jokes because it is funny. It looked funny as hell. I laughed at it. 90% of the jokes that have been made have been funny to me. The thing I go back to is I done played with so many NBA players, NBA coaches, NBA media people, musicians, actors, comedians. If I shot like that regularly, don't you think that would have been out by now? Like, you think this is a grand secret that some of the biggest shit-talking people in the world all decided to keep to themselves?
Here's what I know. Here's what I know is that after the shot and after someone came up to talk to you about it in the moment, you had so many excuses. I mean, it was like the price, like what is it, The Price is Right? Or no, Family Feud. It was like excuse number one, excuse number two, excuse number three, excuse number four. One of my favorite excuses was you were like, look, it's Ramadan. I've been fasting during the daylight hours this entire month, which by the way, I would have possibly given you a little bit of a, first of all, I really respect that you do that and that like giving you a little bit of quarter for that, except that the same weekend, Kyrie Irving, who also fasts for Ramadan and had not eaten anything and was playing in a professional NBA game.
That's right.
Not just warming up at an event, but a professional game that he had already played the better part of what? I don't remember how many minutes he had, but I imagine it was a good chunk. That he was at the very end of the game and hit one of the great shots that we have seen. I mean, definitely this season and in the past few seasons. And you, under the same program, could not hit a warm-up shot to save your life.
No, hold on. A couple of things. Number one, same release, though.
Oh, my God.
No, but seriously speaking, like, that was the one shot that, like, they didn't show any other shots. You know what? What's happening to me? The thing that's happening to me, the same thing that's happening to me is the same thing that happened with all these, we done with the 90s videos, right? Where they're going to take the worst moment and say, this is how this person always plays. This is how this person always shoots. And again, I know, just like, Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan, all the people in those videos know, that's not representative of how they play. That's not how representative of how I shoot.
Do not pretend that Michael Jordan or Isaiah Thomas ever once shot a basketball the way you did the other day.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying when they do the we done with the 90s videos, they'll show, look at Michael Jordan. He can't even dribble with his left hand. Like,
bro,
really
just
think
admit you was gangbanging, bro.
I was going to say...
Hey,
it's cool,
that's the one thing I don't joke about, Boogie.
Yeah, throw your setup, bro.
I'll be traveling too much to be joking like that. I just want to make it clear to all the sets across the nation. If I sit through some of Inadvertently, I apologize. I did not mean to do that.
You definitely threw something up.
I was going to say, it was brutal. Brutal. All right, we'll let you redeem yourself with some basketball talk over this next hour, but I'm telling you, you're really on the edge here. So let's see how you can do.
Edge of glory. Edge of glory.
The edge of something, but it's not glory, my friend. All right. We got to hit the Clippers because that happened just last night. They have a 4-5 record since Russell Westbrook got hurt. Here are their notable losses since the All-Star break. This is actually a kind of concerning list. They blew a 21-point fourth quarter lead to the Lakers. They blew a 13-point fourth quarter lead to the Bucks without Giannis, lost that game. They blew a 22-point lead to the Timberwolves. They scored 4 points in the final 4 minutes versus the Pelicans, which was a huge game because that's right below them in the standings. And they were down 29 points at home last night to the Hawks, who, of course, do not have Trae Young. So, look, I want to read you a couple quotes from the locker room afterward. Here is Kawhi Leonard, quote, "It's between the ears with us." Here is Paul George, quote, "Right now, I don't think we have an identity." So, Boogie, with 15 games left to play, Clips not how they want to be going into the postseason. What do you think this team needs to do immediately here to right the ship?
I think it's two things with this team. The first thing is I think they're now starting to really see the importance and how valuable this guy is to their team and Russell Westbrook. The guy, the voice in the locker room, the quote unquote leader of the locker room, just that positive, big energy that he comes with on a nightly basis, it's missing, and you can tell. It's not the same team. It's not the same joy that we've seen them play when they were at their best this season or so far this season. It's just not the same team. It's not that same energy that we saw early on. And I think that's credit to Russell Westbrook and what he brings to a team on a nightly basis. The second thing is I could just see this being a team that's now kind of getting comfortable, getting a little stagnant. You're not seeing quite the same urgency that they played with early on in the season. And I don't think this is, severe for this team, but it is something that needs to be corrected with these last 15 to go. And the foundation going into the playoffs should be urgency because every play matters. One play can change an entire series. So this isn't the point in the season where you want to be lacking urgency or playing with a lack of effort or any of those things because you don't want to create bad habits right before you go into the big stage. This is definitely something that can be corrected. I think T. Lue should be, sitting his team down and they should be having a heart-to-heart. What do you guys really want out of this season? Are you guys really trying to be a part of NBA history with winning a championship? These are real questions that need to be, asked. And guys need to speak up. You know what I mean? We've seen this Clippers team, year after year have an opportunity, and it's always something right towards the end. If it's not injury, it's a lack of chemistry. It's all these different things. So, they are running out of excuses as, being a championship contender. And urgency and effort just can't be your last excuse out the door, in my opinion. So, like I said, it's something that can easily be corrected, but hey, it's time to sit down and really figure out what does this team want to be at the end of the year.
Yeah, to that point, this is the quote Ty Lue had after the game. He said, "They think we can turn it on, but these teams are young. They're fast. They're turning it on from the jump ball. So we got to be able to keep up, and we got to be able to match that." That sounds like what Coach Boogie just said, right?
Absolutely. And, first of all, I want to say that the Clippers should be absolutely embarrassed and ashamed of themselves. How dare they step out on the court and do that? And they should go home and just feel awful about themselves, about how they got embarrassed at home by 30 points to the Atlanta
Someone
Hawks.
Feels some kind of way about their viral video.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Shot, brother.
My bad. Let me recalibrate. Everything is great. They were awesome at playing basketball, and I had no place in saying anything. All right, seriously speaking, though. So there's a couple of things going on, right? Number one is what Boogie said about Russ. Russ, it isn't just about the points and rebounds, assist production with them. Leadership. This guy is a spark of energy off the bench, and particularly
that's the thing he offers now, right? That's the main thing.
That's a huge thing, particularly for a team that I know some of these faces are new, but historically, this is a team that quote unquote gets bored sometimes, right? That has issues with that focus and that sense of urgency that Boogie's talking about. So he's huge to that. Also, not a huge part, but I'll say it because it does matter. Not having Norm Powell available in that game, because he's usually a guy now when Russ isn't out there, for him to come in and be a spark off the bench, at least with his play. So not having Norm Powell, that hurts as well. But the reality is everything that Boogie talked about is the playoffs for most of the teams, other than maybe the Boston Celtics, have already started. And these teams, every team, every night, other than the teams outside of the play-in, they're all looking for something. The Hawks are looking to move up from where they're at. And so there's a sense of urgency for them. The Bucks, who they lost to a few games ago, are looking to hold on to that number 2. The Minnesota Timberwolves, who they lost to a few games ago, are looking to stay at number 1 or be in 1-2 territory as they fight Oklahoma City and Denver. So everybody's coming in here. T. Lou's talking about teams are young and fast, man. Even the vet teams are coming in here saying, hey, we have stakes in this. And so for the Clippers, they don't have the ability or the luxury to take their foot off the gas, because if they do, don't look now, the Pelicans are coming up. And so now you went from we might be a top seed to we may not even have home court advantage in the first round.
Mm-hmm. And look, they're a team that it's also been exposed even during their big winning streak. They still have some trouble with the teams that have significant size and height inside across the Western Conference, right? That they had trouble with the Lakers, trouble with Minnesota. You know, a lot of these teams that have length on them, that is the one weakness for this Clippers team. And so it's not just that like, oh, gee, we're bored because we're all great, you know, scorers with great histories in this league. And once we do turn the switch on, we can, you know, blow the lights out on anyone. It's not like that. That hasn't happened, even when they are playing hard and all pulling the rope the same way. So I just kind of feel like it's a little more shocking to me to see this now, just because they've been shown over the last few months that they need to be on all cylinders from the jump just to beat some of these teams they're going to have to go through. I don't know how they beat Denver. They just haven't shown that they have the personnel necessarily to do that if they're playing really well. And they haven't been doing that. I don't know. I mean, we're all Russell Westbrook appreciators here in this group, and we all have been saying from the jump like what he has brought to that team. But I do think you're right that that's probably just the answer, right? That they got to get him back. I don't know. All right, you mentioned the Bucks. I mean, I do want to hit them because Khris Middleton came back, 16-game absence. No Giannis on the night that Khris comes back. Didn't matter. He played well. 22 points, 7 assists. Dame played well. Bobby Portis played well. I mean, Boogie, you played on this Bucks team. Why is Khris Middleton so important to them making a deep playoff run? Because he misses enough time. Sometimes you almost get the idea they could play without him. But then you see last night what he brings when he shows back up.
Well, one, I think Khris Middleton is the ultimate professional and the ultimate teammate. So just the positivity he brings every day is contagious. He's loved in that locker room. He's loved within that organization. So K-Mid now being at the point in his career that he's at now, being on the older side of things, dealing with the injury, history he's had so far. When this whole thing started with this, Milwaukee championship run, K-Mid was a obvious, second option with his team. Now them bringing in a piece like Dame, it's kind of lining up perfectly for K-Mid with the point he's at in his career. He can now slide to being a third option, being a valuable piece to playing off of, Giannis and Dame. So I think he's in a perfect spot right now. It's also giving him a little more cushion to kind of get his feet underneath him, get his rhythm back. And with 15 games to go, I think that's more than enough time to kind of find his rhythm and his flow with the team. So I think it's kind of lining up perfectly. And, this Bucks team can definitely be a threat down the stretch, and they're only getting better as the season goes on. And just to counter all that, the system with Doc is now kind of getting into place for the team. Everybody's really, figuring out their role. Bringing in Pat Bev was a huge piece for them. So things are lining up for this Bucks team for them to, make a big run in this playoffs. So we'll see.
Yeah, I would start with Doc, because when Doc was hired, everybody had jokes, right? But the reality is this team has been better under him, and not just, oh, they're winning versus what their winning record was before, but in terms of their style of play, their defense has gotten better. And like Boogie said, guys are now knowing their roles and embracing them, as opposed to before, guys were looking around saying, what's my role? They need Khris. That's beyond a shadow of a doubt. Giannis and Dame are not enough for them to be a championship team. They're enough to be a contending team, but to be a championship team, they need Khris and they need his contributions. But the other thing that was kind of funny watching them play yesterday was with with Giannis not out there, Dame looked a lot more comfortable. He looked a lot more comfortable because the offense was running exclusively through him. He had 16 assists. He got everybody involved. He was aggressive with his attack, his scoring. So that's still kind of one more thing on the to-do list for the Bucks. And I know they don't have a lot of practice time between now and the playoffs, but they have to figure out, okay, how do we get more out of the combination of Dame and Giannis on the floor at the same time? It's not enough for each one to kind of just be a star in his own role, in his own right. We got to figure out a way to unlock the two of them together, because that's the best version of this team.
Well, Doc's definitely already done that. If you see some of the plays, stuff that felt a little obvious, right? When they first got together, we were like, oh man, that 2-man game is going to be amazing. Yep. Oh man, this is going to be amazing. And Griff just didn't implement a lot of that stuff. So Doc has gone back and done, in some ways what would feel on the surface to be a basic coaching job of, hey, if you're an NBA coach, you should know to put these guys in these positions, but it wasn't happening. So the fact that he's made it happen is significant. Your point about the roles, guys have told me that, he sat down and talked to every single one of them, something that hadn't really happened in the same way before. But I'm not sure with Dame you're going to fight more than a decade of sort of innate muscle memory on what it's like to just be the one guy versus playing with Giannis. That will eventually come. I mean, he's a really smart, good basketball player. But for this season, I'm not sure in the first season he's going to just completely become a different player who plays a different way, because he's just so used to the other version, right?
As many a coach will say, I don't need you to be perfect. I just need you to be better than what you are right now. And so that's the it doesn't have to be the most unstoppable Jokic, Jamal Murray chemistry.
You say that stuff, and all I think about is the clip from the weekend.
Hey, I don't need to be and I don't need to be perfect at that. I just need to be better than I was in that one clip, which I was after that one clip.
Well, to your credit, you were perfectly horrible. So
But wait. I mean, seriously, from a technical standpoint, where are the biggest areas that you see Khris Middleton when he is on the court, what he does to turn them from a really good team with two big stars to a championship contender? What are some of the little moments that only he can step in and do?
I think given the makeup of their roster, right? And let's just assume Giannis and Dame are out there and they're healthy. But right now it feels like a very direct thing. These two do not have a great synergy of chemistry together. So defending them is a little bit easier in terms of like sending help and not having to worry about the consequences. What Khris Middleton is the consequences. So you can load up on us as we run this 2-man game over here. But now this guy over here, who isn't what he once was, but still is good enough for you to have to respect with a defensive attention, he can not only make shots, but at 6'8", be a playmaker who can see above defenses. So all of those things he brings to the table. Defensively, he's not where he once was, as are a lot of the guys on this roster. And so everyone just trying to get on and get along in terms of we're all playing within the scheme and hoping that the team can defend, even if the individuals cannot. But offensively, that's what I see. I'd say he's the consequence to trying to load up on Dame and Giannis.
Yeah. Well, I'm thrilled that he's back, because I would love to see this team operate at its full potential. I'm a huge Dame Lillard fan, like pretty much everybody in the league, right? And the idea that he could finally get to play for something that has the stakes that being in an NBA Finals, say, would give, or even a conference finals that's more competitive than the one that he was in. So I think everybody would like to see this succeed in some version, but they need Khris to do it. To your point, I want to hit the other side, though, with another team that has had some similar ins and outs of players. And the other guy with the amazing shot, Boogie, that wasn't Amin, despite fasting for Ramadan this month.
Same release.
Same circumstance. And yet, Kyrie Irving with the lefty floater circus shot, hook shot from like nearly 20 feet out. I mean, I don't know what to call it. It was so exceptional. It was so incredible. The people I know who were in the building were like, it looked in the building in the moment just as crazy as it looked on TV. And the fact that he can do that he can still pull that out of his bag. I always say that he can perform like literal actual magic on the court sometimes, and getting to see that is so cool. So I was psyched, and the Mavericks are now 10-6 since that trade deadline moves that you love so much, Boog. But I gotta say, when we come down to did that win yesterday actually mean anything? My answer is no. And I feel like you guys might disagree with me, so go at it.
I actually do agree with you. I mean, it's hard to sit here and say, it doesn't mean anything. Obviously, the Mavs want to win as many games as they can, prevent themselves from being in the play-in, things like that. But as far as their matchup against the Nuggets, like, if these two teams are in the series, I'm putting all my money on the Nuggets, and it damn near might be a sweep. I mean, the Mavs are a very talented team. They definitely got better at the trade deadline. I do still like the pieces that, they brought in to help, improve this team. We do need a little more consistent play from PJ Washington. He has the talent to do it. That's that's the little bro from UK. So
that's right.
I'm a bit biased. But with that being said, he has the talent to do it. Just finding that consistency. That's part of being a professional. That's part of, playing with a team that's playing with a goal in mind, which is trying to win a championship at the end of the year. It's a big difference. It's easy to go out there and be a talented young guy, and it's even harder to go out there and be a professional that's consistent on a nightly basis. That's when you take that next step. So I'm throwing a little advice while critiquing at the same time. But with that being said, this Mavs team has improved. It's a big win with them, trying to stay in the standings and be a playoff team. But I'm putting my money on the Nuggets on a nightly basis. So this shit means absolutely nothing.
Damn. Who knew I was going to be who knew I was going to be the positive guy today, man? You guys
have no choice.
You guys yeah, man. So first of all, about the shot. Rachel, I'm going to reject one thing that you said. You called it a circus shot. It ain't a circus shot if you work on it. And that's a shot that he works on, right? A circus shot is like if the shot I put up had gone in, that would have been a circus shot because the way my hand.
That would have been a goddamn miracle.
Well, I try to not use the Lord's name in vain when talking about miracles. But my point is, that's a shot specifically he's worked on a lot. I believe he works on every day, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's like for anyone who thinks it's a fluke, it's lucky or whatever, it's not. Also, while we're on the topic, yeah, he's fasting Ramadan. I'm fasting Ramadan. He works out every day. I don't. This is not a good road to go down. I'm just throwing that out there.
Don't defend yourself by saying how out of shape and unathletic you are.
I haven't played full court basketball since 2017.
We actually agree with you.
We know you don't work on your shot. We know you don't work out.
We can tell.
So I'm gonna just throw that out. But the other thing, talking about the Mavericks, this is absolutely a huge win. It's not about can they beat the Nuggets. The question isn't can they beat the Nuggets in the playoffs. Everybody and their mama going to put their money on the Nuggets to win. That's the best team probably in the league, with the exception of maybe the Boston Celtics. But that's not the bar for them right now. The bar for them is Phoenix, Golden State, and the Lakers that are on their ass, and then in front of them, New Orleans and Sacramento, right? That's the bar for them right now. And so every win matters. Every win counts. They have to be competitive. They have to get these wins. And for this particular team, to hold the Nuggets to 105 points, let me tell y'all something. I know they said scoring has gone down all across the league since the All-Star break. The one team that has not gotten that memo is the Mavericks defense. So for them to not only win this game, but do it holding Denver, one of the best offenses in the league, to 105 points, that is absolutely a huge thing. Now, can they do it 4 times and 7 times?
That's my point. Is that he's Denver? Not going to hit. He's not against anyone. I mean, I agree with you. You can't hold everyone to the Denver standard, but he's not going to hit that shot every game. Not because he can't, because first of all, the odds are. That's why it's such an incredible shot. The odds are it's a low percentage shot, and he's not going to be put in that opportunity and given that chance to have a game winner in that spot every game. It's just not going to happen. The defense is not going to play that well in every game. And by the way, the seeding issue to me, it's very hard in the West to know what seeding you should be going for, because they are one of 3 teams really fighting it out between that 6th spot and the 7th spot. And that means, quote, staying out of the play-in, and what a big deal that seems to be to people. Is it really, though? If you end up in 7th, you play 1 extra game, assuming you win it, right? Which is the whole point, is that you play 1 extra game, fine. And then maybe, because of the way things shake out, you end up in that 7th spot facing a Timberwolves team that either doesn't have Cat back yet or is just barely getting back. Or maybe if you're in the 6th spot, you end up facing the Nuggets. Like, it's hard to say if you want to stay out of the plan right now or not. I just don't think this win told me much in terms of the Mavericks, because it seemed like a lot of things they're not going to be able to replicate on a regular basis.
I'm going to tell you why it's important to stay out of the play. Number one, it's 1 game if you win it. If you don't, now you're getting deeper into this thing and it gets dangerous there. Yeah. Number 2, and this is the most important part, the way the schedule works now, the regular season ends, and then the teams that are in the best position in terms of preparation are 6-3. They know who they're playing. We got a week of practice. We got a week of film. We got a week of just going through what they do and their tendencies and how we want to attack them and how we want to put them in a place of vulnerability. When you're 7, when you're even one or 2, which I've always said this is kind of weird that the top 2 seeds don't know who they're going to play until later in the week. It's almost a disadvantage. So for one thing, from a preparation standpoint, being 6 is better than being 7. But the other thing, looking at how Oklahoma City has played and Denver have played since the break, I'm going to bet pretty heavily that Minnesota is going to be the 3 seed. They will not be the 1 or the 2. So would I rather play Minnesota than a Denver or Oklahoma City? Absolutely, because who knows what shape Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be in. And also, to me, they're the lesser of those 3 teams. So there's absolutely, don't get it twisted, in the Western Conference, there's an absolute incentive to be the 6th seed.
I know. I'd rather have less preparation and not play Denver, but you're right. I mean, who knows what's going to happen there? Well, we'll see. I don't know. It was impressive. I love the shot. It was amazing. And the fact that everyone compared it to yours was just really the icing on the cake there, chef's kiss.
Same release.
Right, I do. You keep saying that. It doesn't make it true. Just because you keep saying it. It is not. Yeah. Hey. He threw up no gang signs at the end of that. So
no, but in the middle, if you pause it.
What happened was, there you go. You mentioned the scoring being down. I do want to hit this real quick, because scoring overall it's felt insane this season, right? Records are being broken right and left, 70s, the new 50, like that kind of thing. There's been 15 50-point games already this season. That's insane. But ESPN did have a report that the league office has now acknowledged that they have increased officiating focus, quote unquote, on certain defensive players and offensive players getting in defensive players' way. The 2 very specific ones saying that they've acknowledged an increase in officiating focus on offensive players hunting out fouls, and also them veering off pathways to get into the path of the defender. And because of these points of emphasis, the league has acknowledged that we have seen scoring go down in really, I think it's the past 6 weeks, basically. And I thought that was interesting, first of all. And Boogie, we've been talking all season about how you got to let defenders defend. Do you think that these points of emphasis are a good idea? Do you like that maybe scoring is down in this way because there's a little more defense being allowed to be played?
So I'm confused on what we're looking for as a league, as a sport in general, the foundation. I'm just confused because on one hand, we're complaining about it being less scoring. With 15 games down the line, teams ramping up, preparing for the playoffs, like you would think that would be a good thing. Like we know teams are now, focused on playing deep. We also complained early in the year about, it not being competitive, too much. So I'm just lost in what we're looking for as a league. Like I think this is great. I don't want to see any team score 150 points. I don't want to see that as a fan of this game. Like, so I'm totally fine with that. I don't want to see a guy unless he's just on a tear to where he's averaging, it's 3 70-point games. And I don't want to see that as a fan of this game. Like, I want to see stars have to overcome struggling in a half of a game and then coming back the second half and putting up 30. I don't want to see a guy where he's putting up an easy 70 or easy 60. I don't want to see that as a fan. So I'm really confused on what the league is looking for. Could the scoring be down because it's this time of the season where guys are ramping up? That could be a part of it. At the same time, I don't understand why the question is, how should a referee ref a star? Like, you should ref the star the same way you ref the last guy on the bench. If it's a foul, it's a foul. If it's not a foul, it's not a foul. It shouldn't be any bias because this guy's a star. That's where you're now kind of staging a performance. I don't like that. Like, let the stars be the stars, let the competitors be the competitors, and let the sport be the sport. Everything else will handle itself. Like, trying to, plan or stage or whatever word you want to use to, predict the guy's performance or whatever. That's not good for the sport. And that's why we're at right now in today's game of trying to figure out, how can we make guys compete? How can we stop the scoring? How can we increase this? That doesn't make sense. Like, let the sport be the sport and everything can handle itself.
Well, you hit the word though, compete, right? You ask what do they want? What do we really want here? I mean, Joe Dumars has come out and said, he's like, I just want competitive games, right? He's like, what we're trying to do here is have points of emphasis, different things to have competitive games. He says, I don't care if it's 98 to 97 or if it's 135 to 136. He just wants the games to be more competitive. And I do think paying more attention to some of these defensive rules that are there to begin with, I think that will give you more competitive games. What do you think?
Yeah, no, so what Boogie said is absolutely right. The whole thing about a 70-point game before these last couple of years is that it was a treat. When Booker did it in Boston all the years ago, it was like, wow, he really balled out and put up 70. When it becomes commonplace, it's not a treat anymore, right? It gets devalued. Same thing with the 50-point game. 50-point game used to be like something that would lead all the evening news stories. And now it's like, oh yeah, he had a good night, he had 50. That it takes away the magic and what feels special about those nights, both for the competitors and for the fans. Specifically, though, the problem I have with all of this is the league said, we're not going to do anything. The game is the game. And then they went out and they did something. I'm not mad that they did something. I think it's good.
They're always doing something. You know that.
But they didn't have to come out and lie and say, we didn't do anything. We didn't talk about anything with anybody. They try to say that it's because, it's that time of year and teams are slowing down. But the reality is they're calling less fouls. That is objectively obvious. The fouls being called, the number of free throw attempts we're getting per game has gone down a lot from earlier in the season. And I would say as a fan of basketball, that's good because we're getting to watch more basketball and less people just standing at a free throw line and tugging at their shorts and stuff. So I don't think what's happening is bad. Like Boogie, I like it. But I just have a problem with them pretending like they didn't do anything. And then the news comes out, oh yeah, we actually did tell the refs to have a change in the point of emphasis.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, they do tweak that stuff throughout the year, but I get it. They should have said what they did.
Yeah, we did it.
And I liked it. I think it's good. I mean, we keep talking. We were talking about the Clippers. Oh, they went down 25. They went up 30. Then they went down whatever. I mean, those kinds of swings aren't fun either if you're a basketball fan watching that. So I'd rather see a game that's competitive all the way through. And you're like, oh, my team's up by 25. But we all know that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's no fun. I don't know. Here is a fun story, guys. Isaiah Thomas, not Isaiah Thomas, but Isaiah Thomas is coming back to the NBA. He is planning on signing a 10-day with the Suns. He was averaging 32 points in the G League. So obviously that was a fruitful decision for him to go give that a shot. Boogie, you and IT teammates in Sacramento, what do you think he can bring to Phoenix if he does get out on the court with them?
One, shout out to IT. You deserve your flowers. You were a big part of this league, the impact you left on the league, and obviously still are with you. About to get a 10-day, but it's easy to forget what this guy's done in the league, and even bigger at his size and height. He's an inspiration to many. He's going to continue to be an inspiration. He's committed to this sport. He's committed to his grind. He's committed to his craft. And like I said, he deserves all the credit and all the flowers in the world for what he's doing. I believe IT's 35 now. So to still be on this grind after as much success as he's had, throughout his career at high school, collegiate, and at the pro level, to still be as committed and still grinding the way he is, like, I just, it's not enough credit in the world. I'm super happy for this guy. He deserves this moment. And, I hope you ride off in the sunset exactly how you want to, bro. But obviously what he can bring to this Phoenix team is experience. He can bring scoring to this team. Also leadership, another voice in the locker room. Me being a team at IT, I know for a fact this guy isn't afraid to, hold guys accountable. He isn't afraid to speak the truth. I think that's something that's needed in that locker room. And obviously he can be a big spark off the bench for this team if he's given an opportunity to do so. I think this was a good move for Phoenix. They've been missing a point guard.
You two have both been on this all season.
Yes. Can I say this will fix their problems? I can't say yes, absolutely. Right. But it is a step in the right direction. And, I hope this opportunity works out in his favor. So, like I said, I'm super happy for IT, and the grind is paying off. So,
1,000%. The Suns try to go, what is that, 70 games almost, convincing us, now we don't need a point guard on the roster. Like, some of the stuff isn't
this is a team. I mean, this is a team that used to have 80 point guards on one roster, right?
one year you got 12 point guards. The championship run, you got none. It makes zero sense.
So to me, like, it starts with that. Like, IT's not here to save the day. He's not here to. If he can be, that's awesome. But the reality is, it's what Boogie said. It's a big step in the right direction, a direction that they decided they didn't want to go in for a long time. So having a guy out there who can bring the ball up, get guys in place, and lead out there on the floor, because a point guard isn't just a guy with nice handles. It's a leader. It's an extension of the coach on the floor. That's going to help them. The other part about this is the 32 points is nice. He's not going to get as many attempts on the NBA level, obviously, but 45% from three, I like that. And then 5+ assists per game. I like that as well. And I think those are the things that are going to help the Suns the most, what he brings to the table is the leadership, the passing, and the 3-point shooting. The other stuff, to be honest with you, like, this is what I love about this story for IT. It's not like where it was a couple of years ago where he got called up to the Hornets, a team that wasn't very good, and he's just there to be a vet presence and help young guys come. This is an opportunity for him to, like, oh no, y'all want me for my basketball, not to be a caretaker or a babysitter. And that's got to be the best feeling for any player, is that they need me. They don't need me to be a good dude around, which is what he is, but they need me for my actual basketball, because that's the hole they have. And so that's what I'm most excited to watch.
No, I mean, if he can be a facilitator and make those stars even shinier and more polished and not be a liability defensively in ways that hurt the team, I mean, I think that he's going to be able to earn a spot there. We'll have to see what happens, but we're all happy for him. Really good guy. So we'll see what he can do. All right. 2 truths and a lie. This is quickly becoming my favorite segment because, Boogie and I have had mixed results the last couple weeks. And I feel this is the week we've got it, Boog. This is the week. So we're going to see. I have not actually looked at all of this, so we're all 3 in the dark here, but let's see what we can do. 2 of them are truths. 1 is a lie. Here we go. Klay Thompson's points, rebounds, and assists are all higher this season when he's come off the bench than when he started. That's one stat. Stat number 2.
This season.
Just this season.
Okay.
Just the season. Stat number 2. The Celtics are 7-0 without Jaylen Brown in the lineup. And number 3 is that Damian Lillard leads the league in free throw percentage. So none of us know the answer here. We're going to do a little round robin. Everyone's going to say what they think is the lie, and then producer Nate can chime in. Go ahead, Boog. You're first.
I hate and love this game at the same time.
I know, right? It's like sweet torture.
I'm going to go with Klay Thompson. Points, rebounds, and assists being higher off the bench this season. I'm going to say that's true. Celtics are 7-0 with Jaylen Brown in the lineup. I'm going to say that is a lie. And Damian Lillard leads the league in free throw percentage.
That's true. Okay. All right. I feel like the 7-0 stat with Jaylen Brown is so specific, it's got to be true. I don't know if that's true. I would also, Damian Lillard leading the league in free throw percentage feels like a gimme to me. So I'm saying Klay Thompson's a lie, but I don't know. What do you think, Amin?
All right. So I'm going to start with the one that I know is absolutely true. That's a nice place. So it's Damian Lillard. He's leading the league.
Yeah, that's one that just feels, all three of us were like, that's true.
I know it's true.
Yeah.
The other two, this is where it gets tricky because I know Klay's played better off the bench, but I don't know if that necessarily means his points, rebound, and assists are all higher. On the other hand, I feel like this is why I think the Celtics one is the lie, because I feel like if they were 7-0 without Jaylen Brown, we would have heard a lot about it.
You would have known about it.
It would have been brought up in Jason Tatum's MVP campaign. It would have been brought up a week ago or so when it seemed to be trending that Jaylen Brown had liked a tweet that said if he was on his own team, they would be a contender and he averaged 30 plus a game and be in the MVP conversation. So I feel like all of those things would have brought up, wait a second, they're 7-0 without you, bro. So I'm saying that one is the lie. And I'm just going to hope that the Klay Thompson one is the truth.
All right, so you guys are both going with Jaylen Brown. I went with the Klay Thompson as a lie. Producer Nate, what do we got?
No.
Yes!
Damn.
It was too specific. That was too specific. That's how you know it's true.
Oh, my God. I hate this game.
Wait, how far off was he on the rebounds, Nate?
Nah.
Bro, that's technically the fucking truth, bro. Right?
If you add them all up.
Oh my God, I love this. The plant was with me. The plant knew the right answer.
Do your job, man.
You had one job. Amazing. All right. I now love this game. After hating it the last 2 weeks, I'm now in love with it. All right. We'll see if we go. I'll take that bet presented by DraftKings. Guys, I want to look at the odds to win March Madness. Of course, Election Sunday was yesterday. UConn is the favorite at plus 400. Houston plus 500. Purdue plus 600. Arizona plus 1,200. Kentucky, of course, got to hit that one on the show, plus 2,500. So which bet would you take, Boog? What would you put down money for in order to get or risk those odds?
I rock Kentucky blue on these hoes. I'm gonna put my money on Kentucky. I'm taking everything out. I'm putting the house up, the car up, my kids up, my wife up. Kentucky wins it all.
Shot up.
Kentucky wins it all, and the player to make a name for himself. Rob already doing this thing. Reed already doing this thing. I think this is going to be a big step for the wing, Justin Edwards. I think he's going to come out, really perform for this Kentucky team. And, he had a lot of hype coming into the year. Hasn't performed, to the level of hype, but I think he's a very, very talented, player. And I think the tournament will bring out the best version of him. So I think this is his time to shine and help push this Kentucky team to the championship. So let's get it.
You don't even want, I have no idea. I haven't watched it. I was talking about this the other day. How many women's college basketball players I could name before I could name a men's college player? I realized there's like 3 names on the men's side that I know, and one of them is Bronny James.
I know, we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Is who?
Bronny James. Like, just because who he is. That's who I know. I know Zach Edey. And then the Shepherd kid for Kentucky.
You don't even. It doesn't count. It doesn't count as someone you know.
Name, bro.
I don't
Reed Shepherd. Put some respect on his name, man.
No disrespect to any of them. I'm just telling you how tapped out I am on college basketball. I just don't know. So, like, if you ask me who, I would say on that list on my screen, anybody but Arizona. As a proud Arizona State alum, we say the hell with Arizona. But everybody else ain't cool.
Well, Boog, I'm shocked at your pick. Shocked. I will say UConn is the defense. They look good, but even though UConn won last year as the 4, I think I looked at it was like the last 6 or 7 other than them have all been number 1 seeds. So it's boring to go with chalk, but just saying. All right, let's do a little doom scroll before we leave. This is where we look at social media on the internet, so you don't have to. You are social media on the internet right now, but we had handled that earlier, so we got to go to this one instead. Interesting stat came across here. Tickets to the Grizzlies-Hornets game sold for as little as $2 the other day. However, a price of water for a bottle of water in the arena was $5. So when the ticket is cheaper than water, I don't know what that tells you about where a Grizzlies-Hornets matchup is these days. But Amin, are you surprised at this turn of events?
It tells you this is a hell of a date night right here. Hey, baby, you want to go to the game? I got great seats. And then you go, it's like, what you want? You want to drink water? I got it. Don't worry. Don't move. I'll go get it.
No, water's expensive. $5 a bottle?
Yeah, I'm more surprised at the price of the water than the price of the tickets.
I know it, man.
Y'all need to take a stroll on that concourse. Sometimes I'll be going up there because the media room food has pork in it. So I go upstairs to go get some food, and then I see the water bottle prices. I'm like, damn, they're gouging the hell out of you guys. But no, it's not. Sadly, it's not surprising because these are two teams in a year where it feels like almost everybody's playing for something. These are two teams that have waved that white flag months ago, and so this is the result.
So instead of bringing in better quality players, they brought in better quality water. So,
and there you go. There was another viral moment on the internet with a jersey swap that we're not going to talk about, but y'all can look that up amongst yourselves as you can go look and revisit Amin's shot if you have not seen it. There you go. One more piece of news, though, before we go. This is podcast news. This is as niche as it gets, right? According to The Athletic, JJ Redick is set to start a basketball podcast with LeBron James called Mind the Game. Redick and James are going to look to talk more about X's and O's on the game on the court rather than the storylines that happen off of it. First episode drops Tuesday. Will drop weekly. This is pretty interesting. JJ has been around complaining about his fellow podcasters not talking enough X and O's or being an X and O breakdown. I always feel like it's good to have those if you want those. There's obviously been success in the other model as well, but he wants to do this version with LeBron. And I don't know, Boog, what do you think about the fact that this is the thing that has flipped LeBron into being a in-career podcaster like Draymond and so many other guys now? Paul George?
I think it's dope. I think being able to, be able to pick LeBron James' mind, one of the greatest to ever touch a ball. I think that's a dope thing in any aspect. I am a little thrown off with the company that's going to talk with LeBron. I mean, JJ was a hell of a player. I just never, realized how important the X's and O's were to JJ. So I'm definitely tuned in. I would love to see this. So I would
argue the X's and O's were immensely important to JJ because if he tried to play the way he did at Duke, he wouldn't have been the player he was in the league. He had to be a guy that understood the sets and understood where his place was in the offense because that was the only way he was going to be as strong a career as he had. So I like this. Rachel, what it reminded me of, I actually talked to JJ a little bit about it last week. I saw him at Heat Nuggets and we're talking about, look, the masses want barbershop arguing. Like that, the numbers show it. That's why there's so many shows that are like that. But that doesn't mean there isn't a place and an appetite for this kind of stuff. But you know what it reminded me of, Rachel? Remember when Kobe came out with Detail?
I was going to say Detail. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And them just sitting in a film room and just going through. And Kobe Detail was I don't know if y'all remember, it wasn't really like spectacular or highlight plays. It was kind of just like what film session really feels like as a former video coordinator and a guy who's been in those rooms. Like that's what it's like. It's just watching possession after possession after possession. Stop it. Look at where he's standing right here. Look at his stance. Look at how the defense is. This guy's creeping over here. This guy isn't. This guy's not paying attention. All right, run it. Now look at how the defense has reacted. All of those things, I think there are a lot of people who don't have access to that kind of content who are going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think these guys are going to be a little bit more charismatic in that role. I mean, JJ's been a professional podcast host now for a few years now. LeBron, as we know, is an expert in talking to the media and getting his message across. What I love about this is that LeBron actually is so brilliant at X and O's, where everyone should be on the court, really since he got in the league with the passing, everything. And he does have an eidetic memory. It's like practically, he can remember practically than anything that's ever happened to him. So he uses that on the court and he's like, oh, this guy did this once 4 years ago. And that's how I knew. I want to hear all those stories. So I'm pretty psyched about this. I think some people are going to want it. Some people aren't, to your point, but I think it's pretty great. I think it's interesting that a guy who doesn't have to do any of this, that this is a route that he wants to take. I do not see, like Draymond Green, when he's done playing and podcasting, he's going straight to the TNT set, and that will be the next phase of his career. I don't see LeBron James being on one of these sets and that being the next phase of his career. I just don't think he's going to do that. So he doesn't need this to prep for his later life. He's just doing it because he wants to. And what JJ's been saying clearly struck a chord with him. So we will see more content for us to talk about down the road. I love it. You can catch our podcast. All episodes of Bully Ball are available on the DraftKings Network. We're on the All the Smoke Productions YouTube channel. We are available wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to, when you look up Amin's shooting highlight, low light, again and again and again, you can just slide your thumb to the left there and then go on the pod. So it's great. You can listen to back episodes, the whole nine. We will catch you next week. Nice work with the plant, my friend. And Amin, you need to work on yourself. That's all I'm saying.
This is
Love
my
you.
strong one.
Shout out to Scary Movie.